Hello and welcome to another pen video from me, Penultimate Dave. So I have another currently inked video this week. I think let's go through these briefly one by one. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail and then we'll do a writing sample. So from left to right we have the Asvine P36, we have a Cross Peerless 125, we have a Asphine V169 and this is in the coffee transparent. We have another Asphine V169 just in the clear transparent. We have a Montegrappa Extra High Tech. We have a Parker 130th anniversary Duofold. We have a Twico, and this is the Seishu Dragon in red. We have another Twico Seishu Dragon in green. You can see those eyes there. We have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles, and we have an Onoto Longitude. So I think let's take a look at these pens in a little bit more detail here. So this is the Asvine P36 Titanium, and this, for all intents and purposes, is a copy of a conid bulk filler. It is made of a clear acrylic and titanium. The clip obviously looks a little bit different. The filling mechanism is definitely different. This is just a regular piston, but it looks very similar to a conid bulk filler. These come with Asvine nibs or box nibs. You can normally choose depending on where you buy it. I got this with a box steel nib. It's a medium nib. Probably will put a broad nib on here at some point. But I have to say I'm liking this. You can post the cap. It will post onto the body, but it's also actually posting more so onto that piston. So you have to be a little bit careful when you remove that cap. It is a good size without having to post it. So I don't think it's something you have to post, but I know some people prefer to post their caps. So if you want to post that cap, you can do so, but just be a little bit careful when you go to remove that cap, because you could find that you're twisting that piston knob a little bit. The next pen inked up this week is the Cross Peerless 125. It has a Swarovski crystal there that you can see in that cap finial. These are no longer in production, no longer made. These were made in China for Cross, and these also have a sailor nib on them. They're not a King of Pen nib, but you'll see it here. It has a Cross Peerless 125 nib. I like this material. I like this barley-like material. It is an interesting texture. It is a cartridge converter. I'm not a fan of that section. I prefer concave and not convex sections. So for me, although I don't have issues with my fingers slipping down, I typically do on most of these style of pens. So I'm a little bit more of a fan of the concave, where it has a dip in there to stop your fingers slipping down the body anymore. You can post the cap on this, and it will post deeply and securely as well. But you will struggle if you push it on too much. It will click into this little crevice here, and you'll fight to try and get it off. So just be careful. This is a cartridge converter pen. Honestly, I would like to see, I'd like to get some more of these in my collection. The issue I have is that I picked this up for under £300. I think it was about 280 that I paid for it. Was it 280 or was it 180? I think it was 180 actually. I'll have to actually go and check now, because that is going to bug me quite a bit. Let's have a look. I'm just looking at my pen database, and if I can find the, where is it, Cross, there you go, Cross, and it was 280 I paid. So this I thought was a pretty good price for a pen that has essentially a sailor nib on it. Now, For 280, I'd buy another one. I'd probably buy another 2 or 3 at that price. There are other colours of this in gold or in blue or in black, but they're selling for $499, and that just puts me off because I don't think this is a £499 pen. I'm happy to pay the 280 that I paid, but I wouldn't be wanting to spend much more over 300 for it. So I think it's an interesting one. There are sellers out there still having them and selling them. If I find a different color version and it's not as expensive as $499, then maybe I will buy another one. But I also think that the amount of sellers out there are very few, and most of them are trying to get the full price for them. Compared with this one, which again is a really beautiful pen, this is an Asvine V169. It is the water drop demonstrator. You can see this here. It really is quite a beautiful pen. It has this translucent coffee acrylic. This is a very, very beautiful pen. For me anyway. Has a concave section, which I am a fan of. It does have a little ink window here, although you don't need it because you can see all the ink in the body. It has a screw thread. Again, the Asvine seem to knock off or copy other brands. This reminds me of the Visconti watermark in so many ways. But the difference is that this has an Asvine medium nib on it, not an 18 karat gold or 23 karat palladium nib. And it's only £45 for this pen, whereas the watermark you're looking at over £1,000. But I have to say that this is quite good. You can interchange those Asvine nibs. You can pull it out, it's friction fit. You can put in a Bock nib, keep the feed, the Asvine feed, but put in a Bock nib there if you wanted to, and it would work just nicely. So you could easily, if you didn't like the Asvine nibs, swap it out for a Bock steel nib. The next pen, inked up, again is another Asvine V169, and this is what they call a transparent clear. So you can see that why, because that acrylic is clear. Now, again, this has a Asvine medium nib there. I just like the size of these pens. You can post the caps on these if you wanted to, but honestly, who would want to? It also back weights the pen quite a bit, and it's not, you feel it rock a little bit. It's not 100% pushed onto the back of that knob. These are power vac knobs, so if you go to pull the cap off, it's not going to matter too much unless you've actually unscrewed the cap, the piston or power vac knob fully. But I have to say, for the cost of this, like if you compare this to say a TWSBI VAC 700R, that you're looking at around about, I think what, £90, £80, £90, something like that. This at £45 with the same mechanism, filling mechanism, is pretty insane. And honestly, it looks a lot better. So I have to wonder how much it costs them to make these, and whether or not they're making a loss on these or not. I don't know, but obviously labor is cheap in China. Parts of material are probably cheap as well. There's some government subsidization going on, but this is a really quality pen. I'd honestly pay 100 or 150 for that with a steel nib. If it had a Bock nib on it, I'd probably be willing to pay 100, 150, probably no more than that. But interesting pen. So £45, that's a pretty good price, I think. The next pen inked up is the Montegrappa Extra. It's a 1930 model. It's a high-tech. What does high-tech mean? Well, high-tech is normally an abbreviation in essence for titanium. So it's a titanium finish. So you have this titanium cap band there. And you also have this titanium section. It also has this carbon fiber weave going on here on the body as well. And then a number 8 size Montegrappa nib, a medium nib. This is a cartridge converter. I typically prefer the pistons in the Montegrappa range. This is the second one that I have a cartridge converter on. You can post the cap. Doesn't really post deeply. It will wobble a little bit as well, like you can see there. So it's not, I'd say it's not designed to be posted, but you can post the cap if you wanted to. Just don't go and try and take your pen and give somebody directions and say over there, because you could flick the cap off possibly. But this is a nice pen, and I have to say I got it for a good price. So when I get something for a good price, I'm always happy to add it to my collection. I have a lot of pens in my collection. I try not to pay full price. A lot of the prices of pens are overpriced to the point of the retail MSRP. You've got retailers, you've got distributors, sometimes you've got interim distributors, and then you've got the manufacturer all taking a cut. So if you were to be able to buy this direct from, say, Montegrappa, they're not going to sell it to you at this amount off, but they're essentially going to be making the pen and getting 30 to 50% of the final sale value of that pen. So, and that's if the pen was sold at full MSRP. Now, obviously, retailers will discount, distributors sometimes will discount, so you can easily get 50% off of that pen. But Montegrappa or the manufacturer would not be losing that money unless they chose to. It's a retailer. So when you see pens selling for cheaper, it's because retailers want to get rid of them. They want to refresh their stock. Maybe it's not selling. Maybe it's just that their clientele are just not right for that pen. So, and sometimes it can just be auctions. It could be companies that have gone under. So I typically try to buy them less than MSRP. It varies though, depending on the pen, depending on what I think it's worth, depending on whether or not I want to add it to my collection or not. And I always, not that I buy pens as an investment to sell them later, I'm always looking at the price per pen. So if I could get 20% off a pen or 30% off a pen, then I'm going to get 30% or 20 or 30% off the pen, because that way I'm going to use the pen. It's going to be used. If I then went to sell it or had to sell it later on, I could probably sell it for 30% off of what I paid, or what the retail price was. So exactly what I paid for the pen, and still get my money back. Plus, over a number of years, a lot of pen prices will increase because of inflation. So at that point, you're probably going to get a bit more than what you paid for it. So that's typically what I aim to do where possible. In an ideal world, I'd try and buy something at 50% off, but that doesn't happen all the time. It doesn't happen a lot. The next pen here is a Parker 130th Anniversary Duofold. Beautiful pen. You'll see here it's got George Parker's signature there. And this is a really nice pen. It's got a lapis lazuli stone there, and it says Parker 130th Anniversary. Beautiful gold cap, lovely design on it, and also this metallic blue with the map of the world there. Very, very nice. I do like this pen. I have, what was it? I think 2 Parker Duofold Prestiges, which are the metal ones like this, and I like it. It does have a Parker 130th Anniversary nib with an ABS or an ebonite feed there. It is cartridge converter. You can post the cap, and it's not, I'd say it's not back weighted, because a lot of this weight is actually in the section, so it actually balances out quite nicely. But if you needed to or wanted to, you could post that cap and that would work. And then 2 pens I picked up at the London Pen Show this year. Bittersweet, actually, because not everybody knows this, but I'll tell you the story now. That you already know the story, that I picked these up at the London Pen Show. I got these for a really good price. These are Urushi, these are Makie, this is a Red Dragon. The reason why I say it's bittersweet is I actually put my back out a couple of hours towards the end of the pen show, and I was in excruciating pain. Came back the week after the pen show, very painful, very sore. But then week 2 and week 3 after the pen show, I actually thought that my back was back to normal. And then week 4, when I was at work in the office, I put my back out massively. And I have been in rehab ever since, seeing chiropractor. He's done some phenomenal work, but my back still feels weak. The back is now, the spine has now been, I've had well over 60 adjustments made. The spine is now straight. I'm standing straight, probably the first time in 40 years I've stood straight. But now my muscles are weak because they're not used to how I stand now. So they're having to relearn. So my back ultimately feels weak because my muscles are not supporting my spine as much as they should be. So it's going to be a long recovery, unfortunately. And I don't know yet if I'm going to be able to go to the London Pen Show in October. I did pull out of the Northern Pen Show in April this year. I really wanted to go to that, but there's no way that I could go, and I don't know yet whether or not I'll be able to do London in October. I hope I will. My aim is going to be rest, relaxation, chiropractor, and trying to make sure that I can get there and do the videoing and that. But at this moment in time, I do not know. This is a 14 karat gold Jowo nib. But anyway, that's the story behind why this was such a bitter-sweet sort of purchase. Definitely sweet. It's just that I've been in pain ever since, and I will forever remember this pen show for sure. Like, I think I probably remember most pen shows I've been to anyway, for various reasons. But this one is definitely going to be the one that put my back out, and I wasn't doing anything spectacular. I just twisted, and I twisted with my feet on and my lower torso on pointing in one direction, and I twisted almost 90, I won't say 90 degrees, it's probably 45 degrees, the upper torso of my body, and I got excruciating pain. So I'd been on my feet for about 8 hours. That probably contributed to it as well. So yeah, it's just one of those things, unfortunately. So I'm now in the healing process, the recovery process. This is the other Twico Seishu Dragon pen that I bought as well. I'm always going to love these pens in my collection. They are beautiful pens, brilliant pens, super pens. So I knew when I was there, I had to pick up both. I couldn't just pick up one. I was lucky I was able to pick up both. Again, another 14 karat gold nib. These are the right size for me. These are actually a nice girth, a nice width pen here. So I do like that a lot. So I have those two inked up this week again. I don't think I had them inked up the last few weeks. So I decided I would add them back in. I had this one inked up last week. It's a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in the shiny circles, stacked celluloid. Ferracina is the clock. There is a timeless edition version that doesn't have the clock. I prefer the clock, honestly. I'm not a fan of, this is a clock, it's a solar clock, but it has like a built-in like battery source, power source. And I'm not normally a fan of that, but I think the clock just, for me, it just makes it something more special. This is a piston filling pen. I love the stacked celluloid here. Solid silver section. It will tarnish. You can polish it up. It's a number 8 size Montegrappa nib there. Medium nib with an ebonite feed. And I just noticed a little bit of ink there. I just wonder if I can wipe that off. Yeah, just wipe that off there. But this pen is a good size in my hand. I can post the cap. It does post quite deeply, but it's very back weighted. So it's not one that I would normally want to do, but you can if you want to. But it already is a heavy pen. And then the last pen here, I did have this inked up last week. I think I may have had it inked up for the last few weeks, beyond that even. This is the Anotto, and this is the Longitude. And this is a beautiful ship themed pen with the rope. You've got the ship's wheel. You've got a massive anchor there. You've got the sea, the choppy sea. And then you have this, again, choppy sea on the cap band. And it says Longitude. And that, it's a beautiful pen with this pinstripe, with a shackle. And it also has the lat and long here of where the ship, where this metal has come from for this pen. The shipwreck had sunk. It does have a number 7 size Anotto nib. It's a medium nib. Really love how this writes. And you can post the cap, but it's very, very back weighted. I just want to do that. It's very heavy. But you could still post it if you wanted to. I guess it all depends on your angle of writing. So that's my 10 pens currently inked for this week. I think let's now go and do a writing sample. So the first pen inked up is the Asvine P36 Titanium. So we're going to do an ink swatch here. And yeah, I do still have this inked up in this very bright green ink. I do still have the medium nib in here, the box nib, and I'm tempted to maybe put a slightly darker ink in here, maybe Diamond Apple Glory, but I think if I'm going to have a light ink, I need to put a broader nib in here. I've got a couple of broad nibs, some box nibs, so I could do that, although I think they are branded Leonardo, the ones that I have. I could always pick up a box nib. But this is the Asvine P36 Titanium. And it's a medium, and it is a steel box nib. And then the ink in here is Monteverde. And it is Key Lime Pie, which I've only had once, but I loved it, and as a dessert, and I would like to have it again, but unfortunately I don't normally see this in UK supermarkets, so I guess the key lime pie is probably not going to happen unless I were to make it myself. The next pen here is a Cross Peerless 125. So we'll do an ink swatch. And this, I like how this writes. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like sailors because they have pencil-like feedback to them. It's something you have to get used to, but once you do get used to it, then I never used to like pencil-like feedback. I used to like ultra-smooth nibs. Then you'd find that they would hard start or skip a lot on certain paper. And I started going for a little bit more feedback, and I don't mind pencil-like feedback now. So this is a Cross Peerless 125, and it's a, I want to say it's a medium. I'm pretty sure it's a medium nib. It's a 750. Now, I'm just doubting myself here because I'm pretty sure it's a medium. Yeah, it is a medium nib. So it's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. The reason why I was down to myself is because it actually writes like a fine, and I have to think at that point, is it really a medium? It is a nib made by Sailor, so a medium would be more like a Western fine, so that's the reason why. The ink in this is Venustus or Venustus, and it is Vinaccia, which is a nice purple coloured ink. It's not normally a purple that I would gravitate towards. The next pen is the Asvine V136. So we'll do an ink swatch here. Now, I have to say that I am liking this ink colour as well. I think this is a perfect match for this pen. So this is the Asvine V169. It is a medium and it is a steel nib, and the ink in here is KWZ Cappuccino. But that is a nice one, and I'd actually say that this actually is the transparent coffee colour. So I probably should have put that before the medium steel there. The next pen here is again another Asvine V169. Now we'll do an ink swatch. Now this is more of a chestnutty colour brown ink. So this is the Asvine V169, and this is called the transparent clear. And again, it's a medium, it's a steel nib, it's a Asvine nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Ochre, which is really one of my favourite brown inks. I do like Akumon SBRE brown, but I have gravitated a lot more towards Diamine Ochre, and it's a lot more easier to get hold of as well, being a Diamine ink. The next pen is the Montegrappa Extra High Tech. So we'll do an ink swatch, and this is actually one of the brown inks above. So this is the Montegrappa Extra High Tech. It's a medium, and it's an 18 cat gold nib. And then the ink in here, now you would kind of think it probably looks a little bit more maybe towards Diamine Ochre, but it's actually KWZ Cappuccino. And possibly when it dries it will look a little bit more closer to that. But you do sometimes find inks write to a different colour in certain nibs, different nibs of pens. The next pen is the Parker 130th Anniversary Duofold. And I do need to do a review of this. I still have not done a review. Dave, why haven't you done a review? Well, honestly, I don't know. I've got a lot of pens, and it's a big box. I can do the review, and it's just that I've just not done it yet. I will get it done this summer for sure. If I don't, then you can shoot me, because or maybe not shoot me, but certainly complain on the comments why I haven't done it yet, because it's a beautiful box, beautiful pen as well. So this is the Parker 130th Anniversary Duofold. And it is, unfortunately, a fine 18 karat gold nib. I think I would prefer this in a medium, but the fine is still pretty good. And then the ink in here is, I just wanted to write Pelican Edelstein Topaz. It's not. It is Lamy Turquoise. I always think it's Pelican Edelstein Topaz. It's not, sadly. I probably will put Pelican Edelstein Topaz in there at some point, but at the moment I've got Lamy Turquoise in there. The next pen is the Twico Seishu Dragon in red. So we'll do an ink swatch. And I love how this ink flows. I think it's a perfect match for this pen. Beautiful, beautiful writing nib. Beautiful ink as well. So this is the Twico Seishu Dragon. Quite a wet writing nib. In red, and it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold. It's a Yovo gold nib. I put Yovo, it's actually a gold nib. I wanted to put gold instead. I think the reason why I did that was because I was just thinking that these are the only two 14 karat gold Yovo nibs that I actually have, or gold nibs from Yovo. The ink in here is KWZ, and it is Thief's Red, which for me, beautiful red ink. I did buy a second bottle of that, and I probably will buy a third bottle when that first bottle goes empty, because I do like that colour. The next one is the Twico Seishu Dragon in green. And again, this is, I wanted a green from KWZ, and I was looking at a bunch of their green colours, and a lot of them just didn't really speak to me. But this one, I thought, actually, you know what? This has some promise to it. So I got it, and I absolutely love it. This is a Twico Seishu Dragon in green. And it's a medium, and it's a 14 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is KWZ Glass Green. And I think when I was looking at the various greens, it was like a lot of the KWZ ink names are just not that inspiring. Like, it's Grass number 1, Grass number 2. And I just think that there could have been a better name coming up for those. But then I saw Grass Green, and I was like, well, actually, you know what? Grass Green, Grass Green speaks to me, and likewise, it's a fairly nice colour as well. So let's give that a try, and I did, and I like it. The next pen is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina in shiny circles. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this is quite a nice writing nib. So this is the Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina. And it's a shiny circles. I'm not going to fit all of this on here. It is a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib. And then the ink in here is Diamine Earl Grey. But that beautiful ink. I love it a lot. I tend to put it in a lot of my silver or grey pens. And then the last pen inked up is the Onoto Longitude. So we'll do an ink swatch here. And this, again, is a nice writing nib. Try and get that on camera a little bit, actually. This is the Onoto Longitude. and it's a medium, and it's an 18 karat gold nib from Anotto or Bock. And then the ink in here is a Pelican Edelstein Topaz, which is a great ink, and I do like it a lot. I do ink that up in a lot of pens. So I think let's take a look at these pens inked up one more time. We have an Asvine P36 Titanium in a medium steel nib inked up with Monteverde Key Lime Pie. We have a Cross Peerless 125 in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Van Vistus Vinaccia. We have an Asvine V169 transparent coffee in a medium steel nib inked up with KWZ Cappuccino. We have an Asvine V166 transparent clear in a medium steel nib inked up with Diamine Ochre. We have a Montegrappa Extra High Tech in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Cappuccino. We have a Parker 130th Anniversary Duofold in a fine 18 karat gold nib inked up with Lamy Turquoise. We have a Twico Seishu Dragon in red in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Thief's Red. And I'm just going to move something out of the way there, which is blocking the page. We have a Twico Seishu Dragon in green in a medium 14 karat gold nib inked up with KWZ Glass Green. We have a Montegrappa Bartolomeo Ferracina Shiny Circles in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Diamine Earl Grey. And then we have an Onoto Longitude in a medium 18 karat gold nib inked up with Pelican Edelstein Topaz. So there you have it. That's my currently inked pens this week. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next pen video. Bye bye.